At first, I didn't like Chung Fei, but as the saying goes, when a woman pursues a man, it's like a veil between them, easily lifted. Her love for me was fervent, like the summer sun, intense and radiant. Unknowingly, I grew fond of her. But then, in the 7th year of our relationship, something happened. That day, my girlfriend got drunk, and I took her home. As she lay sound asleep, I accidentally caught sight of the flashing chat notifications on her phone, and there, in her messages, I saw how freely she talked with another man. 01. I supported my swaying, drunken girlfriend and carefully laid her on the bed. Her face was slightly flushed from the alcohol, her eyes tightly shut. I touched her forehead, tucked her in, and was about to leave when a rapid series of WeChat notifications chimed. One after another, messages lit up the screen. I don't have WeChat notifications on. Fu Shun, if it's urgent, call me. I'll pick up right away. Chung Fei's words echoed in my mind. Ever since I'd known her, that had been her habit. I unlocked her phone. The password was my birthday. What greeted me was a string of affectionate messages from someone called Handsome Little Brother, Silly Girl, Don't Eat Too Much, or you'll complain about dieting again later. It's late. Are you home yet? Hey dummy, you didn't get drunk, did you? I scrolled up. The latest message from my girlfriend was a selfie, her outfit for the day. I tapped the voice message, and her familiar voice played. Hey handsome, do I look good today? Today was the day I proposed to her, in front of our friends. She accepted the diamond ring I offered and slipped it onto her finger. I pulled her into an embrace. That ring was still on her middle finger now. Then, another message popped up from the person on her phone. My train arrives at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Will you come pick me up? 02. Chung Fei and I met during an icebreaker event at University Club. She was warm and outgoing, her eyes sparkling when she laughed. Even during her self-introduction, she had drawn the attention of many guys. We were paired as partners for the activity. Her straightforwardness and diligence helped us finish the task in record time, winning first place. After the event, she took the initiative to add me on WeChat. At first, our chats revolve around club activities. Later, she started sharing her hobbies, her life. 2 months later, after another club gathering, Chung Fei invited me for a walk on the sports field. I agreed happily. By then, after 2 months of spending time together, we had become close friends. We strolled side by side under the night sky. The field unusually quiet. Suddenly, Chung Fei spoke up. Fu Shun, did you know the sports field at night is a hot spot for couples? I paused, taken aback. Really? I didn't know that. She chuckled softly. How can you be so clueless? What do you guys even talk about in your dorm? I scratched my head, a little embarrassed. Games, competitions, stuff like that. When we reached a street lamp, she stopped abruptly. The light cast a soft glow on her profile. She took a deep breath, then looked at me earnestly. Fu Shun, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? Hearing this, I froze. Honestly, I had a good impression of Chung Fei, but I was slow to warm up. In those 2 months, I'd only ever seen her as a good friend, nothing more. I'm sorry, Chung Fei, She didn't seem surprised by my response. Smiling, she cut me off. Stop, I get it. Before I could finish, she turned away and kept walking as if nothing had happened. I wanted to say more, but after hesitating, I swallowed my words. 03. This should be our last walk and conversation, I thought to myself as I watched Chung Fei walking ahead of me. The next morning, I opened my phone, thinking I'd lost a great female friend. But to my surprise, as soon as I opened WeChat, a message from Chung Fei popped up. Good morning. The cafeteria actually has osmanthus cake in winter. It's so good. I was stunned. Was last night's confession a dream? Morning, I replied, then hesitated before typing. About last night, before I could finish, another message from Chung Fei arrived. Fu Shun, you don't have a girl you like yet, right? I deleted what I just typed and replied. No, great. Then I'll keep chasing you. Reading this, my mind went blank. Chung Fei was warm and outgoing, but she wasn't my type. I preferred quieter girls. Maybe it was also because of preconceived notions. I thought transitioning from close friends to lovers would feel awkward. That message was like a battle cry. Chung Fei had officially declared war. Her love was like summer sunlight, intense and unrestrained. She made no effort to hide her boldness. On days without class, she'd invite me to study at the library. By the time I arrived in the morning, she'd already saved me a seat with a warm glass of milk. During club activities, she always showed me favoritism. Everyone noticed her feelings and tacitly encouraged us. Gradually, after spending so much time together, I found myself unwittingly holding her in my heart. When buying yogurt or bread, I'd instinctively think of her preferences instead of my usual choices. Half a year later, I confessed to her on the same sports field, but with a much larger audience. My roommates and her cheered us on. We hugged, and even now, I can still recall every smile and glance of hers. 0 for I wanted to turn off my phone, but my fingers kept scrolling. 18th, that in turn pissed me off today. Literally, does no work at all. What happened? Who dared upset the young miss? 17th, try the new Luckin drink. It's pretty good. Half sugar, no ice. Very good. Just got out of a meeting. I'll order later, but coffee in the afternoon keeps me up at night. Then don't drink it. I'll order for you tomorrow. Thanks. Sugar Mama. 16th. I'm so tired. What are you up to? Playing with my cat. Here's my new rag doll. So cute. What's her name? Thinking of calling her Chung Bao Bao, your surname. You're half her godmother. On the 18th, Chung Fei ignored me all day, only sending a good night in the evening. The next day, she explained she was exhausted from work. On the 17th, I ordered her the new Luckin drink, and she said it was delicious. I checked the dates in the chat history. They've been talking every single day for the past 6 months. I scrolled to the very first message. Hey, beautiful. Your makeup skills on the high-speed train were impressive. Got a boyfriend. Thanks, but I'm taken. Well, had Chung Fei stopped sharing things with me? Turns out, the desire to share never disappears. It just shifts from one chat window to another. I flipped my phone face down, glanced at Chung Fei sleeping soundly, then got up and left her apartment. 05. Shun, the boss wants to see you. A colleague's voice snapped me out of my thoughts. I pushed open the office door. What's up, senior? After college, I'd started a business with my senior. I was introverted, handling planning, while he took care of networking. Xiao Shun, you've mentioned wanting to study abroad, right? Senior glanced up at me, then pointed to a document on the table. I know you can't let go of Chung Fei, but back when you graduated, you already gave up the chance to study abroad. This opportunity is hard to come by. I hope you'll reconsider. People have many dreams. I don't have your talent, so I can only be a pragmatic businessman. He sighed and patted my shoulder. I stayed silent for a moment before picking up the recommendation letter on the table, staring at the words, Rhode Island School of Design. Once my dream university. Senior, I'll think it over and give you an answer by the end of the month. I set the letter down and turned to leave, returning to my workstation the moment I sat down. A WeChat message from Chung Fei popped up. Gidge, I'm sorry. My boss won't give me the afternoon off today, so I can't go with you to visit your parents. Crying. Last night's message flashed through my mind. My train arrives at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Will you come pick me up? I probably knew where she had gone. It's fine. I'll reschedule with my parents. It's been a while since we last watched a movie. Want to go together after work tonight? Sure. I'll wait for you to pick me up. Mwah. Reading her reply, I let out a quiet breath. Maybe she really hadn't gone to meet him. Maybe her boss truly hadn't approved the leave. I shouldn't doubt 7 years of love. Maybe they were just close friends who shared everything. I tried to console myself. Later, she accidentally let it slip. The day before she got sick, I had invited her to hike and watch the sunrise. But I suddenly got a call from a client and stood her up again. She ended up hiking alone to see the sunrise. But on WeChat, she told me, I'm heading home now. Had some KFC. Feeling happy. In my heart, Chung Fei will always be strong and optimistic. Being with her was my luck. By the time I finished work, it was already 10 p.m. and the movie we had planned to watch was long over. Good thing I'm smart. I don't have work tomorrow. Let's go to the midnight screening. I already changed the tickets. Chung Fei excitedly held up her phone, showing off. I patted her head and smiled fondly. 07 in the midnight cinema. It was just the two of us, as if we had rented out the whole world. Chung Fei tried hard to keep her eyes open while watching the movie, but her frequent yawns betrayed her exhaustion. If you're sleepy, just rest. We can rewatch it later. A flicker of guilt crossed her eyes, but she still leaned her head on my shoulder and fell into a deep sleep. I watched the movie. It wasn't the kind of story I usually liked. I preferred art films, but Chung Fei loved comedies. When we first started dating, whenever we went to the movies, she'd always say I was boring, dull, like a block of wood sitting next to her. To understand her tastes, I started watching comedy shows. Gradually, I could appreciate the humor in those films, even laughing along at the jokes. Now, watching her sleep peacefully on my shoulder, I felt it was all worth it. Half an hour after the movie ended, Chung Fei slowly woke up, rubbing her eyes. She pouted and asked, why didn't you wake me? You were tired. I wanted to let you sleep a little longer. Besides, no staff came to kick us out. Hearing this, she gave a satisfied smile. As we left the mall, she took out her phone to snap a picture of the moon in the sky and said, look, it's so round. Yeah, just like your face. Are you calling me fat? Chung Fei pretended to pout in mock anger. I quickly reassured her. Just kidding. Your round face makes you cute. Chung Fei started rambling. Did you meet some other girl? If you get married, don't invite me. I won't give you a red envelope. By the time you have kids, will you turn into a bald, greasy, beer-bellied uncle reminiscing about her love? Seeing her drift further into absurdity, I reached out and took her hand, interlacing our fingers, but I didn't feel the diamond ring. My heart sank. What other woman would want me? I already proposed to you. You're my bride now. 08 after dropping Chung Fei off at her place. I didn't drive home. Instead, I stayed in the car, wondering why she wasn't wearing the ring. Had she forgotten? Or was there another reason? Yet, everything between us today had felt so natural. I sat in the car all night, lost in thought, not even realizing when I dozed off. I woke up to my parents' call. Hey, Mom. I answered groggily. Xiao Shun, have Fei Fei come over for dinner tomorrow. You two are getting married. I want to ask what kind of jewelry she likes so I can prepare in advance. My mom's cheerful voice rang through the phone. Okay, I'll ask her later. She stayed up late last night, so she's probably still asleep. You young people never take care of yourselves. Fine, I'll make her some nourishing soup tomorrow. Dad, go to the market and buy a black bone chicken. Mom, I'll hang up now. I didn't sleep well last night. Alright, get some more rest. I won't bother you. After hanging up, I rubbed my temples and pulled out my phone to text Fei. What I meant to write was, Fei, Mom wants you to come over for dinner tomorrow. But what I actually sent was, Fei, I didn't see the ring on your hand last night. Does it not fit? I froze, quickly hitting recall. Luckily, Fei usually wouldn't be awake at this hour. I rephrased it. Fei, are you free tomorrow? My parents asked you to come home for dinner. Once a knot formed in my heart, I couldn't let it go, and my words unconsciously grew more distant. By the time I drove home, 2 hours had passed. After watching TV for a while, it was already 2 p.m., and Fei still hadn't replied. I started to worry, so I called her. The phone was answered instantly. Hey, what's up? Nothing. I just noticed you hadn't replied to my messages. I was worried. I just woke up and got called in for overtime work. Didn't check WeChat. What's going on? My parents invited us over for dinner tomorrow. Are you free? Of course I'm free if your parents invited me. See you tomorrow. Fei agreed without hesitation and hung up before I could say anything else. I stared at my phone, a sense of powerlessness wrapping around me. I felt like I was losing her. 08. I took Fei to my parents' house. She carried bags of gifts, and the diamond ring on her finger sparkled under the sunlight. Looking at her, the drifting loneliness in my heart seemed to find its lighthouse again. The doubts and unease from before faded away in an instant. I began to wonder if I was being overly sensitive. Was it fair to Fei to be so suspicious? We'd been together for 7 years, and in that time, we'd rarely argued. Maybe I was just too tired lately, letting my imagination run wild. Fei, you brought so much again. My parents beamed at the sight of her, already waiting at the door. Annie, I did some research online. These are good for you and Uncle's health. You should take them together. You're so thoughtful. I wish I'd had a daughter. Girls are so much more considerate. My mom held Fei's hand, chatting about everything from work to family matters. Her smile unwavering. Naturally, my dad was just as pleased with Fei. He bustled around the kitchen, and soon the rich aroma of black chicken soup filled the air. The soup's ready. Fei, eat while it's hot. Have more. It's nourishing. My mom quickly ushered Fei to the table, ladling a small bowl of soup for her. Meanwhile, under my dad's orders, I played the role of waiter, serving dish after dish. 09. After dinner, I pulled Fei onto the couch with me. She nestled obediently in my arms as we watched TV together. The warmth and harmony of family filled me with happiness, and Fei's presence made my heart swell with tenderness. But then, my phone buzzed with a WeChat friend request. The note read, Hi, I'm Chun Jianan. The profile picture was unmistakable, one I'd seen just days ago on Fei's phone. It was that handsome younger guy. I sat up and accepted the request. Moments later, a photo came through. That day, she picked me up, and we watched a movie together. The photo showed Fei and him, holding movie tickets. Her left hand was bare, no diamond ring, and she was smiling brightly. So, that afternoon, she had gone to pick up Chun Jianan, and they'd watched a movie together. Staring at the photo, an indescribable emotion surged in my chest. No wonder she loved comedies so much. She could stay up all night watching them and still be full of energy. But that day, she'd been unusually exhausted. You two aren't right for each other. Chun Jianan suddenly sent another message, but he deleted it almost immediately. Then, he sent another. I really like her. You're not married yet. Does that mean I can pursue her too? I looked up at Fei, still lying peacefully on the couch, oblivious to what I'd just seen. Here she was, in my home, where my mom treated her like a future daughter-in-law, affectionately calling her Fei, and me. I saw her as my future wife, the promise I'd given her, now worn on her finger. Yet now, I discovered her laughing so happily with another man. My heart was filled with conflict and turmoil, unsure how to face everything. In the end, I chose to deceive myself and blocked Chun Jianan. Not long after, Fei's parents met with mine, and the two families sat together to discuss wedding arrangements. Today, my senior colleague urged me again about studying abroad. I knew he meant well, but I'd already made up my mind. Just as I was carefully wording my response to politely decline his suggestion, he rushed out of his office and hurried to my desk, saying anxiously, the proposal we designed was leaked ahead of time by a competitor. We need to rework a new one. I had spent 2 months preparing for this project, only for a problem to arise at the last moment. Frantically, I opened my laptop and got to work. To meet the deadline, my senior and I pulled 3 consecutive all-nighters at the office before finalizing a new proposal with the client. He patted my shoulder and said, Fu Shun, the company can't do without you. Think again about studying abroad. I'd hate to see you go. Dizzy and exhausted, I pulled out my phone to see multiple messages from Fei. Though my body was on the verge of collapse, I still replied to each one. After a brief farewell to my senior and requesting a few days off, I headed to Chung Fei's apartment. I hadn't spent much time with her lately, and I hoped to make up for it by cooking for her every day during my break. But when I arrived downstairs, I saw her laughing with a man in black, occasionally gesturing animatedly. I took out my phone to call her, but for some reason, I sent a WeChat message instead. I'm too tired. I'm going home to rest. She was still chatting happily with the man. Glanced at her phone, but didn't reply. 11. I don't know how I made it home. In a daze, I collapsed onto the couch as soon as I got inside. In the middle of the night, I was jolted awake by sharp pain. Having barely eaten or slept for 3 days, my chronic gastritis had flared up again. The pain was so intense, I couldn't straighten my back. Groping for my phone, I immediately called Chung Fei. The dial tone echoed in the pitch-black room. By the 6th unanswered call, I was in too much pain to even hold the phone. The ache in my heart was sharper than the one in my stomach. Curled up on the couch, I, a grown man, broke down in tears. When I woke up, Chung Fei was standing over me, her face etched with worry. Fu Shun, are you okay? I'm so sorry. I was in such a deep sleep I didn't hear your calls. She was crying, her tears falling like rain. It was the first time I'd ever seen her cry. I reached out and gently stroked her head. It's fine. The pain's gone now. It's my fault. I didn't eat properly while working on the proposal. I wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. I took a few days off. Stay with me for a while. I want to see you first thing when I wake up. Okay, she agreed, her voice still shaky. But shouldn't you go to the hospital? You know, it's just an old problem. It hasn't acted up in a long time. So this one hit harder. But I'll be fine. I'm tough. I reassured her. Over the next few days, Chung Fei stayed at my place. Every evening, I cooked dinner and waited for her to come home. Watching her eat happily, the void in my heart slowly began to fill. 12. After my long break ended, Chung Fei didn't leave. She said she'd grown used to the routine of coming and going from my place. Besides, we're getting married soon. Isn't this just practice for married life? She wrapped her arms around my waist and pouted playfully. I was weak to her charms. Lately, her work had kept her busy, often returning late at night, while I, having finished my project, found myself with much more free time. I also started scrolling through Douyin, watching TV, and sharing bits of my daily life with Chung Fei. Sometimes she replied quickly. Other times, she ignored me completely. Hey, I had to work dinner today and drank a bit too much. Can you come pick me up? Sure. When I got Chung Fei's message, I threw on my coat, grabbed my car keys, and went to get her. Chung Fei had a terrible alcohol tolerance. Once she drank too much, she'd start acting out. I picked her up from her colleagues, and after throwing a few drunken punches in my arms, she finally settled down. Just as I was about to take her to the car, one of her coworkers stopped me. Fu Shun, this is Fei Fei's phone. I took the phone, thanked the colleague, and guided the drunk girl into the car. By the time I got Chung Fei home, changed her clothes, and tucked her in, it was already 11 p.m. She was fast asleep, and I was about to change and head to the guest room. But for some reason, in a moment of deja vu, I found myself pulling out my phone and scrolling through her chat history with Chun Jianan. They hadn't shared much about their lives in recent days, but as my fingers swiped, one message stood out. Fei Fei, you were so passionate last night. We're so physically compatible. Can't you really consider being with me? My body went numb as I stared at the woman in front of me. The timestamp read the 25th, the day I couldn't reach her by phone. For the first time, I felt the agony of betrayal, the pain of my heart being torn apart. Before Chung Fei, I had never been in love. After we got together, I clumsily searched for ways to make her happy, learned to knit scarves for the first time, memorized lipstick shades and foundation tones. She was my only choice. If she couldn't stay faithful from the start, why did she ever involve me? Tears fell without me realizing, dripping onto the phone screen before finally sinking into the carpet. 13. Before Chung Fei woke up, I packed 2 suitcases, one for her, one for me. I left her phone on the living room table with a note and went home. My parents were shocked to see me. Since graduating and buying my own place, I rarely visited. I was always the cold, distant type. Taking a deep breath, I said, Mom, Dad, I don't think Fei Fei and I are right for each other. We've broken up. I'll go apologize to her parents in person. A sharp slap landed on my face. My father glared at me furiously. What are you doing? My mother pulled him back, then turned to me in disbelief. Why? You two were already discussing marriage. Does Chung Fei agree to this? Whether she agrees or not, I'm ending it. I won't allow it. My mother snapped. Calling off an engagement is easy for a man. What about the girl? How will she face everyone after being rejected at the last moment? Have you even thought about Chung Fei's feelings? Her eyes brimmed with tears, her expression full of disappointment. Mom, just treat it as my fault. I'm the one who wronged Chung Fei. Helpless. I took the blame. Your fault. I know you better than that. Unless. No, it can't be. My mother quickly pieced it together, her face twisting in disbelief. She couldn't imagine Chung Fei being that kind of person. Mom, I'm begging you. Just tell everyone it was my fault. I sighed deeply. 14. Chung Fei woke up at noon the next day. Rubbing her head, she walked out, expecting to see me, but finding the house empty. He must have gone to work, she thought. But when she reached the living room, She saw the packed suitcase. Her phone lay on the coffee table. A flood of shameful memories crashed over her. She lunged for the table, grabbing the note in a panic. The handwriting was unmistakable. In the end, love is just a matter of conscience. Chung Fei burst into tears. Fu Xin knew everything. She knew exactly how it had happened. What started as harmless chatting had turned into sharing their lives. She knew how dangerous it was, but she couldn't help it. After 7 years with Fu Xin, she had grown used to his busy schedule, to waiting for his replies after work. Meeting Chen Jiannan was purely coincidental. Although he added her to express his admiration, she politely declined. Later, it was unclear which of his social media likes sparked their conversation, but they discovered their tastes were strikingly similar. No, Fu Xin will definitely forgive me. He loves me so much. Chung Fei frantically grabbed her phone and called Fu Xin, but the line kept ringing unanswered. She dialed several times, only to hear the same automated response. Please try again later. Slumping to the floor, Chung Fei opened WeChat and sent Fu Xin a message. Seeing no red exclamation mark, she sighed in relief. No block meant there was still a chance to win him back. Taking a deep breath, she typed, I know I was wrong. Fu Xin, I've already blocked him. Please come back. From noon until evening. She waited, but Fu Xin never replied. Left with no choice, she called Fu Xin's mother. That night, I sat blankly in my bedroom. The TV was playing something, though I had no idea what. Over the past 7 years, Chung Fei had become inseparable from my life. Work and her were all I knew. Without her, I didn't know how to fill the emptiness. Just then, my mother pushed the door open, her face etched with hesitation. Mom, what's wrong? I asked, trying to decipher her expression. She stared at her phone for a long moment before speaking softly. Fei, call me. She took a deep breath, as if steadying herself, then continued. I told her, you two weren't meant to be. Son, I just want you to be happy. If you're okay, that's enough for us. I didn't know how to face Chung Fei. Her tears always broke me, knowing she'd come looking for me once she woke up. I had turned off my phone the moment I got home. I stepped forward and hugged my mother, reassuring her. Mom, I'll move on. I promise. There's one more thing I want to discuss with you. My mother tensed slightly, her mind racing with possibilities. Go ahead. I'm listening. I want to study abroad at the University of Rhode Island, the school I've wanted to attend since college. A senior helped me secure a recommendation letter. I like to give a shot. Hearing this, my mother exhaled in relief. As long as it wasn't some reckless idea, she could accept it. What she feared most was me spiraling. After all, Chung Fei was my first love, and my parents had witnessed how deeply I cared for her. Go. A change of scenery will do you good. Your father and I are retired. We'll take care of ourselves. Don't worry. With her approval, the weight in my chest finally lifted. The next day, I went to the office and told my senior about my plans. He was genuinely happy for me, but then asked, what does Fei think? Will she wait for you? I paused before replying. Chung Fei and I have already broken up. Shocked, he pressed. Because you're leaving, maybe you should reconsider. I shook my head. No, we weren't right for each other. Ending it now is for the best. Seeing my resolve, he fell silent, patting my shoulder before finally saying, the school's anniversary is next month. Will you go? I hesitated. I wasn't sure if I'd run into Chung Fei. After a long pause, I answered, I'd rather not. Disappointment flickered across his face, but he said nothing more. Actually, Fei has been asking about you lately, whether you've been coming to work. Just as I was about to leave his office, he spoke again. I've watched you and Fei come this far together. I know she must have made a grave mistake, and I respect your decision, but I hope you could talk to her properly and give your 7-year relationship a proper closure. I nodded and pushed the door open to leave. Chung Fei was like a pebble dropped into my heart, sending ripples that eventually settled into stillness. 17, the shrill ring of the phone jolted me awake. It was Chung Fei's mother. She told me Chung Fei had taken sleeping pills and was in the hospital emergency room. She begged me to come. I felt as if struck by lightning, a surge of fear and unease flooding my chest. Without bothering to change out of my pajamas, I grabbed my car keys and sped to the hospital. When I arrived, I called Chung Fei's mother again, and she gave me the room number. My steps were unsteady as I walked down the hospital corridor, each one feeling like I was treading on cotton. I knocked on the door and saw Chung Fei lying on the hospital bed. Though awake, her face was deathly pale. When she saw me, she called out my name weakly but eagerly. Fu Xin, you came. Her mother stood nearby, tears streaming down her face, looking at me pleadingly. I stood by Chung Fei's bedside. She gripped my hand tightly, her voice faint but desperate. Fu Xin, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. My chest tightened as I looked at her gaunt, fragile face. She stared at me, and I at her. Finally, I spoke. Chung Fei, we're both adults. We have to take responsibility for our mistakes. A flicker of despair crossed her eyes. I know I was wrong. I regret it so much. Please give me another chance. A broken mirror can't be mended. I'm sorry. Chung Fei, my heart was a storm of emotions. I knew she truly regretted it, but some things, once done, could never be undone. I gently pulled my hand from her grasp. Chung Fei said nothing more, only closing her eyes silently. Her mother continued to weep beside her. Chung Fei, life is long. Think about your parents. I'm not everything to you. With that, I turned and left the room. 18 time passed swiftly, and before I knew it, it was my alma mater's anniversary celebration. In the end, I decided to return to that place filled with memories. The moment I stepped onto campus, everything felt familiar, as if I'd been transported back to my youthful college days. My classmates were surprised to see me. After graduation, we had all gone our separate ways, rarely having the chance to reunite. They greeted me warmly, asking about my life, the chatter rising and falling around me. Then, in the crowd, someone suddenly asked, "Where's Chung Fei? Why didn't she come with you?" The question was like a bomb, instantly causing a stir. Everyone turned to me, waiting for my answer. I knew this was unavoidable. I looked up at the classmate and smiled faintly. Chung Fei and I broke up. As soon as the words left my mouth, the atmosphere grew awkward. Just then, an upperclassman stepped forward, patting my shoulder and deflecting the tension. "Let's go take some photos." After the photos, I bid everyone farewell and walked toward the familiar track field. Yet, as I stepped onto the field, I unexpectedly saw Chung Fei. She stood alone on the running track, gazing into the distance as if lost in thought. When she noticed me approaching, she didn't speak, just watched me silently. We stood there, looking at each other for a moment, and then, as if by unspoken agreement, we began to walk. But this time, it was different. I walked ahead, and Chung Fei followed behind. Step by step, it felt as though we had returned to the past. I led the way, feeling the wind on the field, reminiscing about the days gone by, those joyful moments, the painful struggles, and every instant we shared together remained vivid in my mind. I couldn't help but sigh at time's cruelty. It took away our youth and our love. Just as I stepped off the playground, ready to leave, Chung Fei spoke up. "I heard you're going abroad. Congratulations on realizing your dream." I nodded and turned to leave. The end.